In other news, there is a sharp 19% decline in Indian Americans supporting incumbent President Joe Biden between the last election of 2020 and the 2024 election cycle. This is according to a biannual Asian American Voters Survey, which is the longest running survey of Asian American voters. This survey reveals that 46% of Indian Americans intend to vote for Biden this year, as against 65% in 2020. I must mention, though, this survey was conducted before the June 27th presidential debate between Biden and his Republican challenger, Donald Trump. Well, for further clarity, we have with us founder and executive director of AAPI Data, Karthik Ramakrishnan, on the broadcast. Thank you so much, Karthik, for making time for us. So as per this latest survey, 46% Asian Americans are likely to vote for Biden, which is down 8 percentage points since 2020, while 31% are likely to vote for Trump, gaining just 1 point since 2020. Karthik, what are some of the key reasons behind Biden increasingly losing popularity among the community?
Thank you for having me. I think first, when you look at the data, what it indicates is that you still have a significant portion that are either saying I'll vote for some other candidate or I don't know. And so what's interesting is that declining support for Biden is not translating to a corresponding increase in support for Trump. Now, what are the reasons for that decline? We saw not just in this survey, but even in a survey that we conducted in October of 2023, that Indian Americans' approval of Biden and his favorability had gone down since 2020. And the performance of the economy is the biggest reason why you see that decline. Even though President Biden, in many ways, oversaw the creation of millions of jobs, inflation raced ahead. And even if inflation goes down, prices are still much higher than they were in 2020. So in general, it's a reflection of a poorer economic performance, at least as far as inflation is concerned, that is likely driving that lower approval rating. On other issues, like on abortion policy, like on environment, on guns, Indian Americans are actually on board with what President Biden and the Democrats generally have to offer. So it's very likely the economic performance that is driving that approval rating down and the support down.
Karthik, Trump has gained just 2% in terms of favorability rating, 28% in 2020 to 30% in 2024, despite the record 19% drop in Biden's support from Indian Americans. Is Trump actually emerging as the favorable choice to lead the United States? What's the ground reality?
It's very unlikely that Trump will win the Indian American vote. So even if Biden stayed in the race, it's very likely that Biden will win, because Indian Americans have been voting Democrat ever since I've been conducting research, and others have been conducting research on this community since 2008. So that is very unlikely to change. Party identification and party loyalties, especially if people vote for the same party's candidate, say in 2 or 3 election cycles, it's very unlikely that they will shift to the other party over time. But the big thing to watch are newer voters, those who are naturalizing and those who are coming of age if they're born in the US. Those are the constituencies to watch in terms of whether either Biden or Trump, or say if it's a different Democratic nominee, can attract those votes. And what we've seen in the past is that a lot of the anti-immigrant rhetoric from Trump and some of the racist statements or racially controversial statements that he's made has prevented many Indian Americans to vote for Trump, even if they might like certain aspects of his policies.
Right, Karthik. Then what are the numbers indicating? Would a Harris-led ticket actually give Democrats a better shot at beating Donald Trump?
You know, it's hard to say, because that would be a hypothetical. What we see is that Harris's favorability ratings in our survey was about the same as Biden's. It was within the survey's margin of error. And so what we see is that Harris's approval is tied to Biden's approval. If there was a game-changing situation where Harris is pushed to the top of the ticket, or perhaps becomes the president if the current president steps down, that would be an entirely different scenario. I think if we look back at the 2020 election, Kamala Harris did not do that well
Yes.
when she was running for president. But when she was chosen as a vice presidential nominee, you saw an increase in political donations from Indian Americans and a lot of excitement. I think a lot of that excitement has worn off over time, and including for Harris because she hasn't really had the chance to do much as vice president. I think it would be a game changer. If I had to predict, I would imagine that Indian American support would go up and political contributions from Indian Americans would go up as well.
Well, the sharp decline in Indian American voter support for Biden might be crucial, given that the community has a sizable presence in many battleground states. Thank you so much, though, Karthik Ramakrishnan, for joining us on the NDTV network.